Good morning, welcome in RNQNIS classes, chapter number 9. Chapter number 9, Establishment and Expansion of the Delhi Sultan. The rulers who ruled substantial part of the North India between AD 1200 to AD 1526 were termed as Sultan, and the period of their rule as the Delhi Sultan. These rulers were of Turkish and Afghan origin. They established their rule in India after defeating the Indian ruling dynasty, which were mainly Rajputs in northern India. The main rulers who was overthrown by invading Turk Muhammad Ghori from Delhi was Prithviraj Chauhan. This sultan ruled for more than 300 years from around AD to 1200 to AD 1526. The last of the Delhi Sultan Ibrahim Lodi was defeated by the Mughals under the leadership of Babur in AD 1526 was established the Mughal Empire in India. During this period of around 300 years, five different dynasties ruled Delhi. These were the Mamluks AD 1206 to AD 1290, popularly known as Slav dynasty. The Khaljis AD 1290 AD 320, the Tughlaq AD 1320 AD 1412, the Sayyid AD 1412 AD 1451, and the Lodhis AD 1451 AD to 1526. All these dynasties are collectively referred as the Delhi Sultan. In this lesson, we will give you a details account of the process of conquest, expansion, and consolidation of Delhi Sultan in India. Objectives. After studying this lesson, you will be able to describe the early invasion of India, the northwest region by Arab, discuss the nature of attack by Muhammad Ghazni, describe the nature of Muhammad Ghori invasion, identify the factor that helped the establishment of Turkish rule in North India by Muhammad Ghori, provide an account of the expansion of Delhi Sultan under the Mamluk Sultans, describe the expansion of Sultan by Khiljis and Tughlaqs, outline the challenges faced by the Sultan in consolidating their rule, list the cause of the decline of the Sultan. Urbanization of India. In the early 8th century, Arabs invaded India from the northwest region. This Arab invasion in AD 1712 was led by Muhammad bin Qasim, a generate of the Umayyad Caliph. At invasion on India was part of the policy of Arab expansion during this period. The rise of Islamic in Arabia Seabox gave rise to a new political system. The process of expansion, which had started after the capture of Mecca by the Prophet Muhammad, continued after his death. Rise and spread of Islam. In the 7th century AD, a new religion named Islam was born in Arabia, and in a very short span, it carved out an empire extending from North Africa to Iberian Peninsula to Iran and India. Islam was founded and preached by Prophet Muhammad AD 570 to 632. This religion transformed the religion, political, and social life of not only the people of Arabia but also of many parts of the world. Islam laid emphasis upon belief in one God and its holy book in the Quran. Muslims believe that Quran is revealed by God to Prophet Muhammad. Quran is represented as the supreme source of authority in Islam. Every Muslim was asked to pray 5 times a day, to fast during the month of Ramadan, distribute alms, and to make a pilgrim, if possible, to Mecca after the death of Prophet AD 632. mm, the task of providing religion and political leadership to the Muslim passes on to the Khalifa. Khalifa is derived from the Arabic word Khalifa, which means deputy. This is a title given to the rulers who succeed Prophet Muhammad between AD 632 to 661. There were four pious Khalifas, all close companion of the Prophet, the Umayyadan Caliphate. 661 to 750 succeed the Persian Khalifa. Umayyad dynasty gave stability and prosperity to the Khalifa. Umayyad dynasty was followed by the Khalifa is derived from the Arabic word Khalifa, which means deputy. This is a title given to rulers who succeed Prophet Muhammad between AD 630 to 661. There were four pious Khalifas, all close companion of the Prophet. The Umayyad Caliphate 661 to 756 succeed the previous Khalifas. Umayyad dynasty gave stability and prosperity to the Caliphate. Umayyad dynasty was followed by the Abbasid Caliphate AD 750 to 1258. During the time of latter Abbasid, the Caliphs began to lose political control and independent Muslim rulers Sultan emerged in several regions. The Arab expansion was notable for the speed with which is accomplished between AD 633 to 637. Arab conquered West Asia, Jordan, Syria, Iraq, Turkey, and Persia. They also conquered parts of North Africa and South Europe. Between AD 639-637, Egypt was also conquered. By AD 712. The Arab had entered Spain and were soon making inroads and southern France. By the 8th century AD, the Arab had acquired a crore position from Spain to India, connecting the trade Mediterranean and the Indian Ocean. During the early years of 8th century, the Umayyad reached the height of their power. They had created the largest ever Muslim state that existed. Arabs were also attracted by wealth of India. Arab merchants, also sailors, had brought back stories of plunder of Arab ships of by pirates of Dibol. King Dar refused to punish the pirates. Hazai, the governor of Iraq, dispatched an army under Muhammad bin Qasim. He arrived in Sindh in AD 712 and beside Dibol, which was situated on a sea coast. After crossing the Hindus, he marched forward at Rawar. Muhammad bin Qasim at tagged Dahir, who was defeated, killed a large number of fleeing soldiers. Dahir was also caught and killed. Muhammad bin Qasim was proceed forward, and within a short span he conquered various important places in Sindh, including Brahmanand. The economic life of Sindh got disturbed as a result of company of Qasim. A large number of people and merchants had fled from Sindh. He had conquered the major portion of Sindh up to the lower Punjab. His rule lasted only for 2 years. However, many Arabs settled down in Sindh and established a relation with the local population. The Arab influence continued for a long period, with pocket of Muslim influence established in various parts of Sindh. Various parts of Sindh. Muhammad Ghazni. In all, Muhammad Ghazni invaded India 17 times during AD 1026. Muhammad Ghazni was son of Subuktigin, the founder of Ghazni dynasty. Turkish Slav commander Muhammad Ghazni first encountered the Hindustani ruler Jaipal in AD 1001. In the years AD 1004 to 1006, Muhammad Ghazni attracted the rulers of Multan. Soon, Punjab also reached his treasury by looting the temples of Nagarkot, Thaneshwar, Mathura, and Kannauj. The attack against Nagarkot in AD 1008 has been described as his first great trip. In AD 1025, Muhammad embarked the most ambitious Indian company, the struggle in which more than 50,000 defenders lost their 50,000 defenders lost their 50,000 defenders lost their lives. Muhammad left Somnath after a fortnight when he came to know that the when he know that the Gujarat king Bhima King Bhima I had completed preparations to confront him. His attacks on India were an attempt to fulfill his ambition to make Ghazni the formidable power in politics of Central Asia. Muhammad raids into India were only to acquire the famous wealth of India. This wealth would help him to consolidate his vast rule in Central Asia. He didn't wish to establish an empire in India. The Ghaznavids had their control on parts of Punjab and Sindh, which continued till AD 1135. However, his invasions exposed the weak defenses of India kingdoms. They also opened possibility of attacks in future by the Turks. Muhammad Gauri Shahabuddin Muhammad. In AD 1173, Shahabuddin Muhammad, AD 1173 to 1206, also called Muhammad of Ghor, ascended the throne of Ghazni. The Ghoris were not struggle enough to meet the growing power and strength of the Khwarizmi Empire. They realized that they could gain nothing in Central Asia. This forced Gauri to turn towards India to fulfill his ex- expansionist ambitions. Muhammad Gauri was very much interested in establishing permanent empire in India and not merely looting its wealth. His campaigns were well organized, and whenever he conquered by territory, he left a general behind to govern in his absence. His invasions resulted in the permanent establishment of the Turkish Sultan in the region lying north of the Vindhya Mountains. Conquest of Punjab and Sindh. Muhammad Gauri lead his first expeditions in AD 1175. He marched against Multan and freed from its ruler. In the same campaign, he captured Uchek from the Bhatti Rajputs. 3 years later, in AD 1178, he began merged to conquer Gujarat, but the Chalukyas, ruler of Gujarat, Bhima II, defeated him at the Battle of An Anhivara, uh, but his defeat didn't discourage Muhammad Ghori. He realized the necessity of creating a suitable base in Punjab before venturing on the further conquest of India. He launched a campaign against the uh, Ghaznavid possessions in Punjab. As a result, Peshawar was conquered in AD 1179 to 80, and Lahore in AD 1186. The fort of Salkot, Salkot and Dabol were captured next. Thus, by AD 1190, having secured Multan, Sindh, and Punjab, Muhammad Ghori had paved the way of a further thrust into the Gangerik Doab. The first battle of Taraha, AD 1191, Muhammad Ghori position of Punjab and his attempt to advance into the Gangetic Doab brought him into direct conflict with the Rajput ruler Prithviraj Chauhan. He had over many small stars in Rajputana, captured Delhi, and wanted to extend his control over Punjab and Ganga Valley. The conflict started with claims of Bathinda in the first battle fought at Tarain in AD 1191. Gauri army was routed and he narrowly Gormy army was routed and he narrowly escapes to death. Prithviraj conquered Bathinda, but he made no effort to garrison it effectively. This gave Gauri an opportunity to reassemble his forces and make preparation for another advance into India. The second battle of uh, Tarain, AD 1192. This battle is regarded as one of the turning points of India history. Muhammad Gauri made very careful preparation for his conquest. The Turkish and Rajput forces again came face to face at Tarain. The Indian forces were more in number, but Turkish forces were well organized with swift moving cavalry. The bulky Indian forces were no match against the superior organization, skill, and speed. The Turkish cavalry was using two superior techniques. The first was the horse shoe, which gave their horse a long life and protected their hooves. The second was the use of iron strip, which gave a good hold to horse rider and a better string power in the battle. A large number of Indian soldiers were killed. Prithviraj tried to escape but was captured near Saruti. The Turkish army captured the fortress of Hashi, Sarasti, and Samna. Then they moved forward, running over Delhi and Ajmer. After Tarain Gauri returned to Ghazni, leaving the affairs of uh, India in the hand of his trusted Slav general Kutubuddin Aibak in AD 1194. Muhammad Gauri again returned to India. He crossed Yamuna with 50,000 cavalry and moved towards Kannauj. He gave a crushing defeat to Jai Chand at Chandwar near Kannauj. Thus, the Battle of Tarain and Chandwar laid the foundationary of Turkish rule in northern India. The political achievement of Muhammad Ghori in India were long lasting than those of Muhammad of Ghazni. While Muhammad Ghazni was mainly interested in plundering, Muhammad Ghori was wanted to establish his political control. His death in AD 1206 didn't mean the withdrawal of Turkish interest in India. He left behind his Slav general Kutubuddin Aibak, who became first Sultan of Delhi Sultan. The Mamluk Sultan, with Qutbuddin Aibak being the period of Mamluk Sultan of the Slav dynasty. Mamluk is an Arabic word meaning and it was used to distinguish the imported Turkish Slav meant for military services from the lower Slav we used as domestic labor at or artisan. The Mamluk Sultan ruled from AD 1206 to 1290. Kutubuddin Aibak AD 1206 to 1210. Kutubuddin Aibak was a Turkish slave who had risen to high rank Muhammad Ghori army. After Muhammad Ghori death in AD 1206, the control of his Indian position was passed to Kutubuddin Aibak. Aibak was the first independent Muslim ruler in northern India and the founder of Delhi Sultan. Aibak had to face many revolt from Rajputs and other Indian chiefs. Tajuddin Yaldoj, the ruler of Ghazni, claimed his rule over Delhi. Nasiruddin Kabacha, the governor of Multan and Uch, aspired for independence. Aibak was able to win over his enemies by conciliatory measure as well as display of power. He defeated Yaldoj and occupied Ghazni. The successor of Jaichand Harichandra had driven out the Turks from uh, Badayu and Farrukhabad. Aibak reconquered both Badayu and Farrukhabad. Qutbuddin Aibak was brave, faithful, and generous due to his generosity. He was known as Lak Paksh. Most of the scholars consider Aibak as the real founder of Muslim rule in India. Itumisi, AD 1210 to 1236. In AD 1210, Aibak died and injuries received in fall from his horse while playing Chogal polo. After his death, a few arms raised his son Aram Shah to the throne in Lahore, but, but Aram Shah was incapable ruler and Turkish arms opposed him. The Turkish chief of Delhi invited the governor of Badaयूं, son-in-law Qutbuddin Aibak, Iltutmish to came to Delhi. Aram Shah proceeded against him at head of army from Lahore to Delhi, but Iltutmish defeated him and became the Sultan with the name of Shamuddin. The credit of consolidating the Delhi Sultan lies largely with him. When Iltutmish ascended the throne, he found himself surrounded with many problems. Other commander of Muhammad Ghori like Yaldoj, Kovacha, and Ali Mardan rose in defiances against the chief of Jalore, and Ranthambore joined Gwalior and Kharinjar in declaring their independence. Apart from this rising power of Mongols under Genghis Khan, threatened the northwest frontier of the Sultan. Iltutmish took up the last of consolidating his position. He defeated Yildoj in AD 1215 in the Battle of Tarain. In AD 1270, he drove away Kovacha from Punjab. In AD 1220, when Genghis Khan destroyed the Khwarizm Empire, Iltutmish realized the political necessity of avoiding our confrontations with the Mongols. Thus, when Jalaluddin Mangbarani, the son of the Shah of Khwarizm, while escaping from Mongols, sought shelter at Iltutmish's court. Iltutmish turned him away. He thus saved as Sultan from destruction by the Mongols. From AD 1225 onward, Iltutmish engaged his armies in suppressing the disturbance in the east. In AD 1226 to 27, Iltutmish sent a large army under his son Naruddin Muhammad, which defeated Ayvaz Khan and brought Bengal and Bihar back into Delhi Sultan. Similarly, campaign was also launched against the Rajput chief. Ranthambore was captured in AD 1226, and by AD 1231, Iltutmish had established his authority over Mandor, Jalore, Bayana and Gwalior. There is no doubt the Iltutmish completed the unfinished work of Aibak. The Delhi Sultan now covered a sizable territory. Beside this, he also organized his trusted nobles or officers into a group of 40 Turkan Jahangani. He was a foresighted ruler and consolidating and organized the newly formed Turkish Sultan in Delhi. Northwest. The Mughal invasions from the northwest region were rocking the Sultan on regular intervals. In AD 1326 to 27, a big Mongol assault under Tarmashirin Khan took place. Transfer of capital. One of the controversial measure of Muhammad bin Tughlaq was that he transferred his capital from Delhi to the Gogir Daulatbad. According to Dr. Mahdi Hussain, the Sultan wanted to maintain both Delhi and Daulatbad as his capital. As per Barali in AD 1326 to 27, Sultan decided to shift his capital from Delhi to Digor Daulatbad in the AD 1326 to 27. Sultan decided to shift his capital from Delhi to Digor Daulatbad in the Deccan because it was more centrally located. According to Ibn Battuta, the people of Delhi used the right letters containing abuse to the Sultan. Therefore, in order to punish them, Sultan decided to shift in the capital. Isami say that it was placed at a safer distance from the northwest frontier and thus safe from the Mongols. In view of different versions, it is difficult to assign one definite reason for his shift. The entire population was not asked to leave. Only the upper classes, consisting of Sikhs, nobles, ulema, were shifted to Daulatabad. No attempt was made to shift the rest of the population through. Muhammad bin Tughlaq built a road from Delhi to Dogir and set up a rest horse, but the journey was extremely harsh for them. For the people, large number the people died because of rigorous traveling and the heat due to growing discontent and the fact that the north couldn't be controlled from south. Muhammad decided to abandon Daulatbad. Muhammad Tughlaq decided to secure the frontier. The region from Lahore to Kalanpur, including Peshawar, was conquered and new administrative control was established. Beside the Sultan also planned invasions of Karachi region in present day Himachal and Kandahar, but it didn't succeed. In fact, these schemes resulted in heavy loss. Muhammad Tughlaq was very innovative to adopting new policy. He started a new department for the development of agriculture. It was called Diwani Kohi. Peasants were given financially support to help in arranging seeds for cultivation. This loan was also given in case of crop failures. Another important measure was to introduce token currency to tide over the shortage of silver. However, his scheme failed, causing great financial loss to the Sultan. Token currency, another controversial project undertaken by Muhammad bin Tughlaq, was the introduction of token currency. According to Barani, the Sultan introduced token currency because the treasury was empty due to the Sultan's scheme of conquest as well as the boundless Generally, some historians are of the opinion that there was a shortage of the silver and worldwide at that time, and India too forced the Christies. Therefore, the Sultan was forced to issue copper coin in place of silver. Muhammad introduced a copper coin, jital, in place of silver coin, taka, and ordered that it should be expected as equivalent to taka. However, the idea of token in currency was new in India, and it was difficult for traders and common people to accept it. The state also didn't take a proper precautions to check the imitations of coins issued by the minutes. Government could not prevent people from forging the new coins, and soon the new coins flooded the market. According to Barani, the people began to mint token currency in their house. However, the common man failed to distinguish between copper coin issued by the royal treasury and those which were locally made. Thus, the Sultan was forced to withdraw the token currency. Muhammad Tughlaq was succeeded by his cousin Firaz Tughlaq. Under his no new territory could be added to the Sultan. He managed to keep large area intact with great efforts. However, the political control of Delhi gradually weakened during the rule of Firoz successors. The invention of Timur in AD 1398 left the Sultan desolate. By the end of Tughlaq rule, AD 1412, the Sultan was confined to a small territory in North India. A number of regions proclaimed independent status in the East. Bengal and Odisha enjoyed complete autonomy in eastern UP, and large part of Bihar. A new independent kingdom of Sarais emerged in the Deccan on south. Vijayanagara Empire and Bahmani kingdom became political power. Large part of Punjab were occupied by independent nobles. Gujarat and Malwa become fully independent Rajputs. In Rajasthan, no longer treated Delhi Sultan as their overlords. Shayad dynasty 1414 to 1450 AD. After defeating the army of Delhi in 1398, Timur appointed Khazir Khan as the ruler of Multan. Khazir Khan defeated Sultan Daulat Khan and occupied Delhi and founded Sayyid dynasty. He didn't assume the title of Sultan but was compatible for with Rayat Allah. The author of the Turkish I Mubarak Shahi Yahya Shiringi claims that the founder of the Shayyad dynasty was a descendant of the Prophet. Rise of the provisional kingdoms. You have read that the process of disintegration of Delhi Sultan had started during the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. However, Firoz Shah Tughlaq tried to control the situation but failed. During this period, some of the provincial rulers declared their independence from the rule of the Sultan. Jaunpur was a prosperous province in the eastern part of Delhi. Sultan Malik Sherwal was the governor of Jaunpur. Soon became the ruler of Kannauj, Kara, Awadh, Sandela, Dalmau, Bahreich, Bihar, and Tirhat. Through Malik Sherwal didn't assume the title of Sultan, but he laid down the foundation of Sarkiu dynasty. After the death of Malik Sarwar Sharwar in AD 1399. His adopted son Malik Karanpur succeeds the throne. He assumed the title of Mubarak Shah and thus was the first ruler of Sarkyu dynasty. When Mubarak Shah was the ruler of Jaunpur dynasty of Malu, Iqbal undertook an expedition to recover Jaunpur but failed on Mubarak Shah's death in AD 1402. His youngest brother Ibrahim ascended the throne. He ruled for 34 years. During Ibrahim resigned, the relation between Delhi and Jaunpur became worse. Ibrahim was the greatest ruler of Sharkyu dynasty, under the whom Jaunpur became an important center of learning. Under his Jaunpur evolved a distinct architecture which is known as Sharkyu style of architecture. The most famous of their buildings was the Atala Masjid at Jaunpur. Ibrahim, a successor of Mahmud, conquered a fort of Chinnor. He also tried to conquer Kalpi but failed. He invaded Delhi but was defeated by Behlol Lodi. After Muhammad Jaunpur Shah, the rule of Muhammad Shah and Hussain Shah died in AD 1500, and with him ended the Sarkyu dynasty. Kashmir. Samud Shamud Samuddin Shah AD 1339 was the first Muslim ruler of Kashmir. AD 1389 Sikandarpur ascended the throne. He was the powerful and despotic rule. Sikandar died in AD 1416, and his son Ali Shah ascended the throne. After some years, his brother Shah Khan ascended the throne under the title of Janul Abuddin. Janul Abidin was a liberal and enlightened ruler. To secure the support of all the groups, he called back all such groups and had been banished by Sikandar. He abolished jizya and prohibited cow slaughter. Janul Abidin paid great attention towards the economic growth of Kashmir. He himself was a great scholar of Persian, Sanskrit, Tibetan, and Kashmir language. He ordered the transitions of Mahabharata and Rajatangini history of Kashmir into Persian. Jinnal Abidin, a successor, proved a weak ruler, taking advantage of his weakness. Mirza Haider, a relative of Babur, conquered Kashmir in AD 1586. Kashmir was annexed by Akbar and become part of Mughal Empire. Malwa was the southwestern province of Delhi Sultan. It was conquered by Sultan Alauddin AD 1310. Remained the port of Delhi Sultan till the death of Firoz Tughlaq. Dilawar Khan threw off his allegiance to Delhi in AD 1401 after the invasion of Timur. He didn't take the royal title of Sultan. After the death of Dilwar Khan in AD 1405, his son Allah Khan ascended the throne and acquired the title of Hushang Shah. He made Madhu his capital. The Hindi Mahal, Jama Masjid, Jahaz Mahul are example of Mandu architecture. Husam Shah was succeeded by Ghazi Khan, who deposed by his minister Muhammad Khan Khalji in AD 1436. Muhammad assumed the title of Shah and laid the foundation of Khalji dynasty of Malwa. Under the Muhammad Khalji, Malwa became a strong, polite, brave, and learned person. Muhammad Khalji was followed by Ghiyasuddin and Nasiruddin. Muhammad II ascended the throne of Malwa in 1510. He called he called Medini Rai, a powerful Rajput, to crush his disloyal nobles and appointed him his prime minister. The 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 predominance of Rajputs, the court created jealousy among the Muslim nobles. The Sultan of Gujarat defeated Malwa and annexed Malwa to Gujarat. Gujarat has always attracted the invaders due to geographical locations, prosperity, and fertility. Sultan Alauddin Khilji was the first Sultan who annexed Gujarat to the Delhi Sultan. Since then, it remained under the Turkish governor at the time of Timur invasion. Zafar Khan was the governor of this province. He threw off the alliances to Delhi Sultan in AD 1410. He became the independent ruler of Gujarat. The most famous of the Gujarat ruler was Ahmad Shah. To extended his kingdom, he restrained the Rajput state. Ahmad Shah founded the city of Ahmedabad after the death of Ahmad Shah in AD 1441. His eldest son Muhammad Shah ascended the throne. He was known as Jar Baksh. He was called by conspirator in AD 1451. Muhammad Shah was followed by two weak ruler nobles raised Fateh Khan, grandson of Ahmad Shah, to the throne. He ruled as Muhammad was the Abbas ruler of the dynasty. Muhammad Abbas the dynasty. He ruled for 52 years. Ruled as Muhammad was the Abbas dynasty. He ruled for 52 years. Muhammad died in AD 1511. He was followed by a number of rulers who had brief reasons. In AD 1572, Akbar conquered Gujarat and annexed in into the Mughal Empire. Bengal was the easternmost province of Delhi Sultan. Lack of proper means of transportation and communication created difficulty in controlling this province. Through the Bengal was annexed to the Delhi Sultan a number of times. It gains independent during the last decade of 12th century. Last decade of the 12th century, Muhammad bin Bakhtiyar annexed Bengal to the conquered territories of Muhammad Ghori, but after his death, the successor declared their independence with the support of the local people. Balban forced Bengal to accept the sovereignty the Delhi and appointed his son Burga Khan as its governor. But after Balban's death, he declared his own independence. Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq tried to solve his problem by parting Bengal into three independent division, namely Lakhnauti, Satgaon, and Sonargaon. Muhammad bin Tughlaq tried to declare the supremacy of Delhi Sultan, but when he was busy in rebellion in other part of Sultan, Bengal cut off in its connection with Delhi. Haji Lias, a novel untitled Bengal, and become its ruler under the title of Samaksh Uddin Ila Shah to counter increasing influence of Haji Iluddin Firoz Shah. Tughlaq invaded Bengal but didn't meet the success. He had to sign a treaty with Lians. According to the Treaty of River Koshi was accepted as the boundary line between two kingdoms. Haji Lias died in AD 1357 and his son Sikandar succeeded the throne. During his reign, Firoz Shah Tughlaq again tried to annex Bengal but failed after the death of Sikandra. Ghiyasuddin Azam ascended the throne. He maintained friendly relations with the King of China, which led to the rich foreign trade. This time, Nasiruddin, a grandson of Haji Ilyas, was the ruler of Bengal. He peacefully ruled for 17 years. During the reign of Alauddin Qasim Shah, Bengal became rich and prosperous. On his death in AD 1518, his son Nasib Khan ascended the throne under the title of Nasruddin Shah in AD 1538. Sher Shah Suri defeated Ghiyasuddin Muhammad Shah and made Bengal a part of his empire. What you have learned? Islam rose in Arabia and spread quickly in different parts of the world under the Khalifa. The Arabian armies captured the large part of Central Asia and even tackled India in 1712 AD. The next important invasion into India was when Muhammad Ghazni attacked India. His main intention was to carry the wealth of India. Ghazni in the 12th century, India was divided into small kingdoms, mostly ruled by Rajput chiefs. During that time, the political condition in Central Asia was not good because of the what you have learned. Islam rose in Arabia and spread quickly in different parts of the world under the Khalifa. The Arabian armies captured the large part of the Central Asia and even attacked India in 712 AD. Um, the next important invasion into India was when Muhammad Ghazni attacked India. His main intention was to carry the wealth of India to Ghazni. In the 12th century, India was divided into a small kingdom mostly ruled by Rajput chiefs. During this time, the political condition Central Asia was not good because of his Muhammad Ghori was took towards India. The expansion in AD 1191, First Battle of Taran, Muhammad Ghori was defeated by Prithviraj Chauhan in 1192. The second and Battle of Taran, Muhammad Ghori returned and this time Rajput forces were defeated. Thus Delhi passed into the hands of Turks. Muhammad Ghori left his Indian left his left his Indian positions in the hands of his trusted Slav general Kutubuddin Aibak, which led to the establishment of Delhi. Sultan Iltutmish further consolidated the Sultan by putting down internal rebellions and conciliating the nobility by forming of group 40. The last powerful Sultan of Slav dynasty was Balban, who was become the Sultan AD 1266. He ruled in an autocratic manner and worked hard to elevate the position of Sultan. After the death of Balban in AD 1287, the Khalji came to the power in AD 1290. The coming of Khalji marked a break in the monopoly of Turkish rule. Jalauddin Khilji laid the foundation of Khilji dynasty. In AD 1296, Alauddin Khilji murdered his uncle and father-in-law Jalauddin Khilji and crowned himself in Sultan. He restored the prestige of his crown, he suppressed the nobility and ruled as an autocrat to the able General Alpha Khan, uh, Nusrat Khan, Jafar Khan, Ullah Khan, Malik Kafur won his many victories. Another important measure taken by Alauddin was establishment of markets were sold at fixed price and didn't show any trader to earn more profit. He set up different market for different communities in Delhi. The Khilji dynasty was followed by the Tughlaq. Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq ascended. The Tughlaq is famous for his innovations project. This project included the transfer of his capital from Delhi to Daulatabad and introduction of token currency following the death of Muhammad Tughlaq, the Amir and Ulamas placed Firoz Tughlaq on the throne. During his reign, the force of distillations were active in AD 1398. Timur invaded Timur invaded the Delhi Sultan in order to plunder it. The invasions of Timur gave an opportunity to the provincial kingdoms to declare this independence from the Sultan. Malik Sarwar began to rule as a de facto ruler of Jaunpur. Another province, Malwa, also threw at its allegations to Delhi Sultan and its ruler Muhammad Khalji expanded the boundaries of Malwa. Gujarat broke away from the Sultan when its governor Jafar Khan began ruling as an independent ruler. The most famous ruler of Gujarat was Ahmad Shah, who founded Ahmedabad. The most remarkable ruler of the provincial kingdoms was Jainal Abidin, the ruler of Kashmir. Under his Kashmir became a stronger and prosperous state. Bengal, the easternmost province of the Sultan, was annexed many times to Delhi Sultan, but repeatedly gained its independence. Hazi Hills united Bengal, which was divided into three administration divisions by Delhi Sultan. Timur appointed Khazir Khan as an ruler of Multan, who laid the foundation of Shaykh dynasty. This dynasty was replaced by Afghans as the Lodi dynasty, founded by Behlol Lodi in AD 1451. Behlol Lodi was a capable ruler who was able to win the support of his nobles. He was followed by Sikandar Lodi, the last of the Lodi. Ibrahim Lodi was defeated by Babur in AD 1526 in the Battle of Panipat. The Delhi Sultan, which had a birth in AD 1192, birth had its last in AD 1526, thus giving way of establishment of Mughal Empire.